Okay, so we've got a pool. Pool is a shaded area, and we've got a walkway around it, area of the walkway. So first thing you want to do here is get a good diagram. So I would break this up into three shapes. Okay, I'll call that area 1, which is going to be the same as area 2, and I'll call this area 3. So what are the lengths of these? Well, that's quite nice, isn't it? We've got 16 times 1.5. Okay, we've got 16, 1.5. Can't complain about that. Same with that one. Okay. So get on your calculator, 16, half of 16 will be 8. So that'll be 24 meters squared. So in my head there, I just said 16 times 1, 16. 16 times 0.5 is the same as a half of 16, which will be 8, and then add them together. So that's fine. And then this one, how do I get the height? Well, the height there is 8, but I need to add on 1.5 and 1.5, so that's 3. So that's actually 11 multiplied by 1.5, isn't it? So that's going to be 11 times 1.5. So do that on your calculator. Get you 16.5. Add up all your sizes. So the total area is going to be A1 plus A2 plus A3, which will come out as 64.5 meters squared. I'll just highlight my areas there. So that was area 1, area 2, and area 3. I'll just put my units there. 2. So yeah, just take your time with the shapes. The big problem is people will overlap or underlap the shape. So make sure you're getting the full shape and don't use 8 times 1.5 because that's just this bit. And if you did that, you need to make this shape longer. So it has to be 16 times. And the thing that people maybe don't get is that that's 1.5 and that that's 1.5 as well. Okay, so yeah, just be careful with your shapes. So it's going to be covered in tiles. 16 tiles cover 1 square meter. So I'll just write that. 1 square meter is 16 tiles. Okay. Tiles are sold in boxes of 50. Okay, so 1 box equals 50 tiles. Let's see if that comes in handy. And each box costs 71.95 euros. Calculate the cost of tiles needed for the walkway. Okay, well, we're wanting 64.5 meters squared, so how do I get from 1 to 64.5? Well, we'll say multiply it, don't I? So I'm going to do 64.5 times by your 16 because I need to do the same to both sides. So if 16 is for 1, then I've got 1,032 tiles for the 64.5. Okay. Now they're sold in boxes of 50. So if I was to take that number, 1032, and divide by 50, that's how many boxes I'm going to need. So I will say 1032 divided by 50. Now that gives me 20.64. So that means I'm going to need to buy 21 boxes because I can't buy a 0.64 of a box. I need to round up the way, don't I? Yeah, so 21 boxes. And if that's what each box costs, that's what one box is. Well, I want 21 boxes. How do I get from 1 to 21? Well, I times them. So I'll take my 21, I'll times it by 91.75, and that gives me 1510.95 euros. I'll just check that. Yep, looks good to me. So just taking your time going through it, I try and read these and then, put them into a little formulae and then, try and, you're going to use all the information given. So just take your time. Pardon me. The only bit that maybe would have got people was here, trying to just, real life. Apps is all about real life applications. You cannot buy a decimal of a box, you have to round up. Some people might round it down, but no, think about it, that wouldn't give you enough tiles. You need more than 20 boxes. Good stuff. And now we've got a volume question. Last question on the paper, I think. Yes. So here we go, last 5 minutes then. We want it in litres as well. So let's put it into meters cubed and then we'll convert to litres at the end, alright? So the first thing I would do is think about the shapes, right? You can break this up into 2 shapes, okay? You've got like a cuboid shape on top, a rectangular cuboid, a rectangular prism cuboid on top, and then you've got your triangular prism on the bottom. So you've got 2 different shapes to think about. Okay, and each time, so it's not gonna Can I make that fly? Something like that, and each time you're thinking about what does volume mean? Volume is an area multiplied by a length. So what's your area, and then what length does that carry through? So for here, we'll look at this cross-sectional area. We'll look at this one, right? Well, that area there, V1, V2 will be the other one, is going to be the 16 multiplied by the 0.5. So that's going to give me this area along here, 16 times 0.5, and then I need to times it by the depth back here, so that's times by 8. So that's going to give me the volume of that cuboid on top. So that ignores the triangular bit at the bottom. So let's see what we get there. Okay, so that's 64 meters cubed. Very good. And this one we're looking at again an area times the length. And what's the area of that? Well, it's a triangle, so it's half base times height, and then we'll times that by the length. So what's this base of the triangle here then? Well, that's 4 and that's 16, so it's going to have to be 12 in here. Okay, so that is 12 from there to there. Okay, so a half times 12. And what's the height of our triangle? Well, the full depth of the pool is 2, but this depth is 0.5. So that means that this bit is 1.5, isn't it? Because 1.5 plus the 0.5 has to equal 2. So times that by 1.5, and then times that by the 8 again. So let's have a look at that. Oops. So, I thought I'd unpaused the video, but I hadn't there, so I was talking for a while to myself. So I don't know where I left off. So this will be fun. So just to recap with that then, 1 centimeter cubed is 1 milliliter, which is 1,000th of a liter. So 1 times 1 gives you your 1, and we're dividing that by 1,000. So here if we've got 100 centimeters by 100 centimeters by 100 centimeters, that's 1 meter cubed. So on the top line, it's not 1 times 1 times 1, it's 100 times 100 times 100, and then divide that by 1,000 because that was a milliliter. So you've got 1,000 liters there, and then we times that by 1,000. So I don't know. I'll rewatch the video and see, but if there's a bit of a discontinuity, I do apologise. But yeah, going through all of this, there's a lot of very simple maths, but it's getting through the question that's the hard bit of the apps. So practice the questions, get used to what they're asking you to do. Label things up, score them out, tick them off, put some words to describe what you're doing, but the actual maths isn't too bad, but I do think the questions are quite tough to understand. So the more you practice the questions, the more you understand what they're asking you. Okay, so don't be scared of the questions, just practice. Thanks.